What's going on, Notre Dame fans? We are here outside of Notre Dame Stadium. Tyler Horka, Jack Sobel. Inside of there in the stadium media room, Athletics Director Pete Bevacqua just held his first formal press conference media opportunity with reporters since taking over for Jack Swarbrick. That's already been, 8 or 9 months?
He said 9.
9 months since that happened. Lots happened in his tenure. He started out with Notre Dame winning the men's lacrosse national championship. I believe that was in May, so just a couple months into his tenure, a couple weeks even. But now, sort of the fun begins, I would say. It's a college football playoff game being held in this stadium, the first of its kind, which is pretty cool. On a home campus, Notre Dame gets to say that it was the first team to do that. That was part of Pete Bevacqua's press conference today, but obviously so much more. We'll start with Marcus Freeman's contract extension, which came out earlier this week. He had a lot to say about that. Your first kind of takeaways of what Mr. Bevacqua did have to say about that.
Yeah, he basically said it was a no-brainer to get Marcus Freeman's extension done now. He said, like you wrote about, that the time was right to do it at the end of the regular season before the college football playoff. The big thing that stood out is, like, in his conversations with Marcus Freeman didn't want to talk about Marcus Freeman. He wanted to talk about, is the commitment to the football program right? Is the coaching staff allotment pool right? But Bevacqua said, like, to his and Notre Dame's credit, it's already a pretty big commitment to the assistant coaching staff. They have two of the highest paid coordinators in the game. I think maybe the highest paid coordinator reportedly in Mike Denbrock.
I think so. Yep. I think so.
Two of the, and obviously Al Golden is being very well compensated as well. But he wanted to make sure that would continue to be the case, and they continue to invest in facilities. And I think on both sides it was a no-brainer. He did say that there's no carve-outs relating to the NFL or any specific schools. He was asked specifically about Ohio State. So that answer is a popular question. Yeah. But I think the overall tone was very positive, as it should be.
Another reason why Marcus Freeman was the right guy to give an extension, like I said at the beginning of all this, Notre Dame is playing a college football playoff game here on Friday. Freeman has a lot to do with that. This is an 11-1 football team. It's a way better football team than we saw here on September 7th against Northern Illinois. So much of the credit, the top-down directive I kind of wrote about at blueandgold.com on Tuesday morning, was from Freeman to say, hey, we're better than that. Let's show everybody who we are. And that's what's happened. Pete Bevacqua sees that. I thought it was really cool in Bevacqua's press conference. He said he's on the field for every single game. He's not one of those ADs that's up there in the box drinking a cocktail maybe. No, he's on the field, hands in his pockets. He likes to see the emotions from coaches and players as they're happening. I assume that's going to be the same for him on Friday night. So let's talk about Friday night and what Bevacqua had to say about it, Jack. This will be a Notre Dame home football game. Bevacqua said that many times in the same answer and a couple different answers. Yeah, Indiana's going to have, he confirmed, a pregame intro video. I guess that is a kind of a CFP directive. Yeah. Most everything else is going to feel like a Notre Dame home game, and it sounded like Bevacqua was adamant about that, and that's going to be the case. So any thoughts on what he had to say about, like, the optics of Friday night?
Yeah, he made an important distinction that I caught. It was like, the example he pointed to is, like, this is not going to feel like an NCAA tournament game at Purcell Pavilion, where it's an NCAA hosted event at Notre Dame. Like, he mentioned the two differences. You mentioned the intro video for Indiana. Indiana's ticket allotment is going to be closer to the field. I think, like, lower in the bowl of the stadium. Other than that, it should feel like a normal Notre Dame home game. And Pete Bevacqua said, like, that's been his goal from the beginning. I'm guessing that was really Jack Swarbrick's goal, and why he played such a big hand in designing the system. Like, yeah. Tyler asked Pete Bevacqua about, like, being seated 7th versus 5th or 6th, and he said, I did not care. That was a direct quote. He said, I did not care what Notre Dame was seated as long as they were hosting a playoff game. That was obviously huge for this program. And he talked a little bit more about the ins and outs of, ironing out the details of hosting, like before the season when they knew it was a possibility and their goal. But again, the bottom line is it should feel like a Notre Dame home game. They've made the preparations for that. They got rally towels that we printed out. You can check out our Twitter accounts for that. And like you said with the Anakin Skywalker quote, you got the hair for it too. This is where the fun begins.
It kind of does look like Anakin's hair. He's my favorite character from the second part of the trilogies. So I'll go with that. A couple more things. It's not going to be a long video, but the revenue sharing aspect of this, I thought that was interesting. Notre Dame is fully on board with the House settlement going through. It sounds like Bevacqua wants it to go through to get that $22 million, I believe he said somewhere around there would be kind of the pool that the entire athletics program here has to pull from. Excuse me, it's a little cold out here. I guess I'm losing my words. But this was an interesting thing that I think he said in lieu of that was, hey, most of that is going to the football program. I'm just going to tell you straight up, we have a really good women's basketball team. I mentioned the lacrosse team at the very beginning of all this, and we'll kind of end the video with this, I guess, too. It's a monetary commitment to Notre Dame football. It's a full-fledged commitment to Notre Dame football. I think that the best quote of the entire thing was Pete Bevacqua saying, me and Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman are maniacally obsessed with winning a football national championship. And that's going to look like the revenue sharing being funneled to football, and it looks like all of these other things that we've already talked about too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a couple more things that stood out regarding the revenue sharing. Mm-hmm. He pretty emphatically said that Notre Dame wants nothing to do with private equity, which has been a topic of conversation in college football. So there's your answer on that question. He was also asked about the NBC deal, and he said, like, you know, for those who are complaining on the loose emoji board about Peacock exclusive games, he said straight up, unprompted, I believe, that as much as some people don't like it, NBC is going to always insist on putting one game per year on Peacock. That's just the way of the world right now. Exactly. is what he said. So those are a couple other interesting notes. But yeah, I think largely a positive press conference from Pete Bevacqua. I think it was smart to call this when they did, and it answered a lot of questions we might have had about Notre Dame athletics.
Yeah, it's capitalizing on a groundswell here on Notre Dame's campus as the sun comes and shines down on us outside of Notre Dame Stadium. He said that this is a huge week for the university, and it feels like everyone around here is kind of feeling that. You felt it in his press conference, so I totally agree with you, Jack. It was a great thing to call that after the extension, ahead of the playoff game, and I thought he just, quite frankly, owned the press conference as well. He's very good in front of a microphone, so I hope that we get him more, and we can talk about it more on this Blue and Gold YouTube channel. So stay here for coverage of Friday night's game beforehand, after the game, and definitely go to blueandgold.com for all of your written content leading up to it and then following it as well. So we hope to see you guys in both of those places.